All right. Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you for joining Community Cafe. Before we start, for those of you who are new to the call, the Community Cafe is where our community can meet other community members, contributors, and learn about our services and examples of how they're used. Please share your comments and questions in the chat area. We'll have time for Q&A at the end of the call. I'm Pramod Chintry, your host for today's Community Cafe. On the call, we have Verlaine Muhungu, who was the first recipient of our community spotlight and a community advocate for the Pangea community, and Pranav Shikarpur, who is our developer advocate. So glad you guys could both join us today. Thank you. Happy Friday.
Up, yes, happy Friday. I'm happy to join this session.
Fantastic. Great. A little background on Verlaine. I met Verlaine through our community. I'm sure you have probably received a message or two from him as well. Verlaine lives in the DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, and I've learned that he's truly passionate about technology. He pursued networking through the Cisco Networking Academy in hopes to help improve network connectivity in his community. Later, he joined their local innovation incubator, where he started building a local tech community, which later gave entry to building a global community. I want to thank you again all for all of the contributions that you make to our community, Verlaine. And I have to say, I'm learning a few things from you as well. So thank you for joining the call today. I got a few questions. Let's learn a little bit about you, Verlaine. Where are you based now?
Uh, Currently, I live in Elizabethville. Elizabethville is my town, and I work for Tech Targets as a technical writer in freelance.
Nice. I hear you're quite the linguist. I know you've shared that with me. How many languages do you speak?
Yes, currently I speak 4 languages. I speak French. I speak Swahili. Swahili is the widely spoken language in East Africa. I speak English, and currently I am learning German, and I just speak a bit because the language seems difficult.
Nice. Almost of a je m'appelle Pramod. All right. So clearly you're a community advocate. You love tech. What got you into tech?
Yes.
Yeah,
Could you repeat the question?
yeah. What got you into tech? What was your journey? You don't mind sharing?
Um, in my family we are readers. We are readers, and we have different members of my family who used to work in engineering, aeronautics, and my uncle was a pilot. And every Saturday, I used to go with him at the airport to learn how to fly planes. And it was an opportunity for me to be curious. And at home, currently I have a small library where I have more than 1,000 books I still read. And
Ah,
this is where I started.
nice. Yeah, we talked about why you joined the Cisco Networking Academy. Maybe you can talk us through your journey to where you are today.
Yes, the problem is I am humble and sincere. Our educational system is not what we want now. And for me, joining the Cisco Networking Academy was an opportunity to shine. Because when I was 9, my father gave me the opportunity to attend the Cisco Networking Academy. But the problem with my educational system, I was not allowed to attend. I attended my first class when I was 18.
Oh,
Yes. And from there, I started to develop my curiosity as a self-taught.
yeah. You talked a little bit about the reasons for going the networking route, right? We talked about really trying to help, uh, with connectivity being so difficult where you are, right? I think one of your passions
Yes.
was
Mhm.
how can you personally contribute to helping that, right? So,
Life is not easy as we think in Congo. I know the connectivity is expensive, especially for families, but for companies, it's easy for them because they have a particular speed comparing to the ordinary users. And for my journey, I used to learn most of the time in a computer lab, because in a computer lab you have everything you want, routers, switches. And to give back in my community, I used to train people. And from 2015 to 2023, almost 1,000 people now.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Wow, that's a lot of people. That's great.
Yes, totally. Yes, mentoring and helping people to know networking engineering.
I see those qualities in our community. So thank you. So fast forwarding in this innovation incubator that you work with, you were starting to kind of build the community, which explains why you're such a avid contributor on the Pangea platform. You want to share a little bit about that?
Yes, in the incubation community, I started first to work as a communication manager, and in the community, once the community was launched, the first step was to start with the startup weekend community, and I had the opportunity to have a Zoom meeting with a team in Colorado for the first time, how to set up the entrepreneurial community here. And from the entrepreneurial community, it was an opportunity for me to build a LAN network. Most of the time when we used to have some events in our town. Yes. And it gave me, the taste to contribute in a community. And apart from technical skills, it was also an opportunity for me to learn soft skills, business modeling, design thinking, and
So Verlaine, I know you were a participant in our last hackathon, the Securathon.
of course.
When did you start? When did you first start doing hackathons?
As a lifelong learner, my first hackathon started in 2015. I had the opportunity to learn with the Cyber Patriots hackathon. It was held online by the US department. It was my first hackathon. And then the second was in 2021. I had the opportunity to partake in the Secure Coding Warrior. And this is where I saw how it was challenging to secure code with a secure by design mindset. It was not easy. And then I went to participate to Cisco DevNet, Capture the Flag. From the Capture the Flag, I had the inspiration to secure the code. And from there, for me, it was an opportunity to shine again in technology. I saw, okay, I want to be a developer. How to secure the code.
That's great. Yeah, how did you hear about Pangea?
Yes, most of the time I am on LinkedIn, and I rarely use social media. I'm not on Facebook and the other social media. Especially, I use always LinkedIn and Twitter. And one day I came across a post by Grace Francisco. She posted an article, ChatGPT, securing ChatGPT. And I was curious to read the article. When I went to read the article, I discovered that she shared some snippets. And when I read the code snippets, it was Pangea. And to me, it was, what is Pangea?
Yeah.
How can I discover Pangea? And I went to read the documentation the same night. And after the same night, I started to learn different services, Redact, File Intel. And this is how I started my journey. And the same day, I was in the Slack community.
Oh, nice. Yeah, well, I know that you participated you participated in the last hackathon. I know that you have a demo that you'd like to share. Love to be able to share that. And yeah, did you want to share the slides from your end?
Yes,
Okay,
with pleasure. For the hackathon, I started the project with my friend Herald. Herald is in India, Bangalore, and I am in Congo. We had a challenge because of the time zone. Why tales with Pangea? Because we want to tell amazing stories to our customers using world-class services with an API approach. When I started to read the documentation, I shared the link to my friend Gerald on WhatsApp, and after 3 days, we started to select our different services. We started with Redact, we started with File Intel. After File Intel, we started with Secure Audit Log, and it was a little bit challenging for us. Then the services we used, as I showed you, we started with Redact, File Intel, Secure Audit. For the tech stack, we started with Flask. We used the Pangea SDK. It was super interesting because, to me, after working with different APIs documentation from Cisco, I am still impressed how Pangea make a difference for developers, and network engineers now can learn with the world-class services. And then we started with Bootstrap and HTML. The problem is, when I shared the documentation for the first time, it was read, and in the evening it told me, working in Bangalore, it was a huge communication gap between customers and service communication. And the solution was to bridge the gap between technicians and customers with a management platform. And with our management platform, they can achieve some basic tasks easily with less technical skills. Even if they are not network engineers, they can achieve some basic tasks by themselves. And once they achieve some basic tasks by themselves, they can add some log on the platform, and we can read. Let's discover. The first step, when you look on our management platform, this is how the interface looks like when two network engineers work on a management platform. Sorry for the UI experience. And on our management platform, we have different possibilities. You can log in as a customer, you can log in as a technician, and we also give the ability to push some configuration if you want by yourself as a network technician. Here I want to log as a network as a customer. I can put my name in the box, and if I want, I can use an IP address for the endpoint, or the host name, the username, and the password. And here we used to simulate a Cisco network. And if a user wants, for example, to see what is the uptime of different network equipment, they can just select on the box. It's a drop box, and you have the uptime, the interface, you can see the interface, and so on. And once I log in, I can see the details here. You have the company name, the statute, the vendor, and the command output can be here. And here, the details, I can see the uptime, even if it's not converted. And also, I have the possibility to write my name, and then I can add the log. For example, here I want to simulate a customer who is not satisfied, maybe by the service. And sorry for the F word. I use the F word here just to see how Redact can show me the details. Once I submit my log, I can see the customer logs here for different users. We have John, we have Hudson, we have Verlaine. For example, for Verlaine, you can see the profanity here. It's hidden by Redact. And here we have a satisfied customer, great services, very knowledgeable technician if he is satisfied. And we have Mr. Hudson, who is also a customer. And we can see the profanity here. And for John, you can see the phone number is hidden, the email address, and John wants, for example, to ask some help for a technician to troubleshoot the endpoint. And Redact help us to hide sensitive information. For example, if you use the F words, the phone number, the email address. And here we have Herald. Herald wants to log in as a technician. As a technician, it's the same process. You put your name, the IP address, or the host name if you want. And here Herald wanted to see the interface information for a particular endpoint. And once Herald logged in, welcome Herald, you can see here, and here we see different information. The one IP address is hidden. You can see the phone number, and here we have the details of the configuration. As a technician, Herald can see all the details. But for someone who wants to log in as a non-technician, is going to see some information hidden, like email address, phone number, and so on. And here to push the configuration, for example, I have a configuration I want to push to a particular endpoint. Here, the user is Verlaine, and I created a vulnerable file to push. And once I want to push, file intel shows me that our security system have detected a potentially malicious file during the upload process. It means here, file intel helps us to detect. Most of the time, as network technicians and engineers, we want to push some configuration. And if you want to push a configuration, file intel plays a great role here. And on the dashboard, if I want to see the result on the dashboard, when I logged in with secure audits, I know most of the time when we make some mistake in the network, we want to blame people, and secure audit log comes to minimize the blame game in the company. Here I can see the customer Verlaine logged in and run a command like routes. I want to see how many routes do I have in my network. Here I can see who uploaded the network config. I can see Verlaine and so on. For Redact, I can see how many items redacted by Redact. Here I have 24 and 167%. The token usage, I can see the token usage here, and the average API calls. Redact help us to hide some information. And for malicious file, when I started to upload a vulnerable files to push my configuration, directly on the dashboards, I had the malicious detections here, and Pangea was able to show us how we can detect malicious files just with file intel. I hope it's clear.
This is great, Verlaine. Thank you for the demo. After you made the app for the hackathon, what inspired you to choose this idea?
What inspired me is I come from a network background, and Herald, my friend who works in Bangalore, is a network automation engineer there. And when I shared with him the API documentation, for him it was an opportunity to discover how we can go beyond what we know with Cisco networks. Most of the time, we always work with Cisco APIs, and Pangea, it was our first time to test and to see how we can improve different things in the networking industry.
Nice. How long did it take you to build? Verlaine?
Any question? Yes,
How
question.
long did it take you to build the app?
It took us 2 weeks because, we come from a network background, not easy to work with a web platform. We don't know HTML and all the stuff, but it was challenging for us to just 2 weeks. It took us 2 weeks.
Nice. Yeah, that's the beauty of the Pangea platform, right? Quick reminder for the callers, if they want to add their questions to the chat, we'll answer those. But Verlaine, I mean, as far as the app that you did, this app that you did, Is there anything that you would have liked to add? Anything that you would like to add that would, any additional features, any additional services?
Yes, the first step for me was just to test first the APIs by Pangea. But when we started the project, it was challenging for us because we are network technicians and network engineers. Working with web development frameworks is not easy. And the other part was the UI experience was not perfect. Even after the securathon, I was sure after we went 12 after the securathon. And the other approach was the secure by design approach was not in action, and it was difficult for us to win the prize after the securathon, and we have to improve.
Verlaine, I have a question for you. What was your favorite service after you integrated all the other ones?
Where was?
Did you have a favorite service? Did you like one service over the others?
Yes, over the others, my favorite was FileIntel. My favorite was FileIntel. And for Redux, Redux was just able to hide the F word. And for different items we wanted to redact, it was not possible. Yes.
Why is FileIntel your favorite?
Yes, FileIntel, because all the time we push some configuration on devices, and if you don't have a security background, it's not easy. You can upload the malicious config and the network can be down. But with FileIntel, before pushing the configuration, FileIntel will show you that your file is malicious.
Yeah, this is great. Anything that we could do better? As you were in this journey to build your app, any suggestions, any feedback, whether it's related to documentation, SDKs, and so forth?
And so, for me, as I said before, I worked with Cisco APIs, and I am still impressed by the work done behind the Pangea SDK. The documentation is top notch. But what I want now is Pangea can have a Postman collection for developers on Postman. Because when I was when I was super active in the Cisco community, we used to train ourselves with the Postman collection, and I think having a Postman collection for the community would play a great role to train developers.
I appreciate the feedback. We've heard that, I think. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, I mean,
Thank you.
Verlaine, this is Saurabh. Did you end up creating a Postman package just for your convenience?
Not yet.
Okay. I mean, we internally have a Postman package that now I'm encouraged to, make it available for everybody to use.
Yes.
Thanks for the suggestion. I think we find it very useful ourselves to be able to test the APIs, and I'm sure developers will find it useful as well.
Thank you. I would be happy to see the Postman collection.
Yeah, Saurabh, seeing the demo, is there any inputs that you'd like to provide or any additional inputs?
Well, I mean, I think Verlaine knowledge about initially was, it was kind of humorous about the polish on the UI. I think all hackathons are all about completion and impression and thoroughness, and I think UI does have a role to play. Verlaine, so I know the functionality was great, but if you could have a little more time on the UI, I think your hackathon submission would have stood out much better.
Yes. Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah. I mean, it's sometimes there are first impressions that matter a lot, and UI can really help push your hackathon submission or securathon submission higher than others who might be submitting.
Yes, and I was super happy to receive all the feedback because the Securathon was a great opportunity to improve my security skills with a new approach.
By the way, Verlaine, I have one more follow-up question. You know, you did your application the way you did. Was there a framework integration that you would have rather seen that would help you either think about a different hackathon? I mean, was that even a consideration? Was the choice of language that we support, the framework integration that we support, was that ever a consideration in you choosing a project? Or would you have chosen something else if you had like broader framework integrations?
First, yes, for the framework integration, we started first with Python because we are from a network engineering background. Python was the first language for us, easy for us to use, and then we started with Flask, after Flask, Bootstrap, and all this stuff. But I think for maybe the next hackathon, we are going to choose different framework to achieve what we wanted. But in order to achieve what we want, I think we have to grow our team because we are limited with the web development skills. It was not easy for us to go ahead.
That's understandable. Yeah, this is good. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Verlaine. Obviously we asked for questions, but Verlaine, is there anything? What's next for you? What's anything? Any new apps that you're going to build on the Pangea platform?
Before building a new app, I think we have first to improve what we start with my friend Erat. We have to work with 2 or 3 web developers to review the experience. The user experience was not great for our platform. Then we have to improve the secure by design approach and all the stuff behind. But what's new for me now is, as a French native, I speak French daily. And most of the time when I receive messages on LinkedIn, people are complaining why all the documentation on Pangea are in English. We want someone who can write blog posts in French, how to start with the basic. And I think as we start October is the cybersecurity month. I'm going to write some blogs in French to inspire the French developers to join us.
Great. And thank you for writing on behalf of Pangea. Well, great. We've learned a lot about you today. I want to thank you for sharing the demo. Obviously, starting from your early days learning about networking to today, where you're a community advocate on various global platforms. You've clearly you're helping us spread the word, which is great. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I have, let me go ahead and add Verlaine's. Do you welcome people to connect with you on LinkedIn? Can I share your LinkedIn? We'll go ahead and share your LinkedIn URL here. Chat. So great joy. Great. So again, thank you everybody for joining today. Again, the Community Cafe, we are always wanting to welcome other community members on the show. If you're interested in being a guest, please do let us know. And yeah, I will go ahead and wrap up the call. Again, thank you, Verlaine, for taking the time to join us today. Continue to look forward to learn from you and hear your feedback. And I'm sure the community members do as well. So,
yes, thank you for having me. I am super excited to grow with the community.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone.
And thank you, Verlaine, for all your contributions and feedback to us. We definitely take them very seriously, and we'll definitely work on improving upon your suggestions, especially on the Postman collection.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody.